Hello, everybody, for the H-Town Rundown Houston Rockets basketball podcast. Today, I'm here with my usual host, Dante, and we got special guest, Brad, on the line here. Let's jump right into this intro, baby. Let's jump right into it. Everybody, welcome Brad. He's my boy here, guys. Brad, how are you, man? Thank you for joining the show.
Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all. Real quick, is it
Go ahead.
Is the volume echoing?
Yeah, I can hear you all right. It sounds like you're echoing. Dante, I need you to fix your thing. There we go. Yeah, we know we're not echoing. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you perfect. I can hear Dante perfect. But man, it's so good to have you on, Brad. For all the viewers that are either new to the channel or the few in the Rockets community that don't know you, you want to tell us about yourself a little before we get started?
Yeah, man. So I mean, outside of Brad on NBA, I'm actually I do engineering. That's what I do right now. I'm out in Atlanta doing engineering. But yeah, bro, grew up in Houston. Always been a big fan of Houston sports. Always tapped in with the Rockets, Texans, all that stuff. Just made this little page and while I was in college, and it just started getting a little traction. And you're blessed to be able to do, which is talk about the Rockets.
Yeah, man, bada bing, bada boom. And he got his own channel, The Brad and Will Show. So be sure to go check that out, guys. They do fantastic work over there. The episodes that they bring, and then it really started booming. Correct me if I'm wrong. Once you guys got Şengün on, and that was a fantastic episode. I mean, I tuned in that for live. That was awesome. But yeah, it's good to have a guy out here. He's worked at Bleacher Report. He had that a few weeks back. He did that, and he's got a lot going on here. So thank you for jumping on the show with us today. And, let's talk some Rockets ball. Let's get some insider knowledge, Before we actually get started, I do got one question for you. Let's just get it out the way. Brad, who is your favorite all-time Houston Rockets player? Let's get that out of the way.
Favorite all-time? I would probably say Hakeem, but T-Mac got me into the Rockets. I was around like 7 or 8-ish. And that's when I started watching hoops. So I got to say T-Mac and Hakeem for sure.
T-Mac and Hakeem, good. Yeah, those are some good players. I fuck with it. Well, guys, here we go for the Rockets rundown. So be sure to follow me at drip2piece_GAWD on the X app. You can follow this account as well at the H-Town Rundown on X. And you can follow my boy Dante at Coach Dante31. And be sure to follow Brad at Brad EAUXNWA. So be sure to follow him, guys. Thank you. For our Rockets rundown we got going on here, we're going to talk about the Mavs and Wolves game. Both were L's. And then the big-time Golden State Warriors game that happened last night. Are play-in hopes dead or alive? We'll get to all those questions here in a moment. But first, let's start off with the Battle of the West. Our first game is against the Mavs, 107-125, an absolute heartbreaker of a game. Not a good game from a lot of our players. However, Jabari was great offensively. In 36 minutes played, he had 28.7 boards, 2 assists, and 3 blocks. Really, really phenomenal. He made 5 threes on 71% from 3, 5 to 7. He went 64% from the field and made all of his free throws. And then the only other guy I could think of that really had a relatively solid game was our boy Aaron Holiday, because it was holiday season yet again against the Mavs. 22.5 minutes played. He had 16 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, and 2 steals. He shot pretty well from the field on 54.5% and went 40% from 3, but he made all his free throws, which has been a common theme of us losing lately. So considering the fact that we ended up making a few of our free throws from our main guys, let's talk about the L. Let's break down the game real quick. Dante, go ahead and start it off. And let's start off. One of the key factors of the game is the lack of defense that we played, the lack of offense in general. What happened?
Well, what happened was Luka happened in the game. That's what actually happened. He shot every shot. I mean, it seemed like he made every shot he took in the game. It just seemed like that. He was on a roll. I mean, didn't matter who was guarding him. Most of his jump shot, most of his points came off threes. I believe he had about 9 threes. The step back, that's unguardable. He put you in the post. That's pretty much unguardable. So against a great player like that, you want to show him different bodies. But again, if you got it going on, you got to do whatever it takes to get the ball up out of his hands. And I feel like we didn't really do that. We just kept switching Jock Landale on him, and then he would just barbecue chicken in Jock Landale all night long every time he got the switch. So Luka pretty much happened. Then everybody else just followed through for the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, whoever got the ball at the 3 line, they just pretty much made it. They just pretty much made the 3. So Dallas shot 51% from the field and 51% from 3. I mean, they made 24 threes. They made 24 threes. That's what basically won them the ball game. They were hot all game long, no matter who got the basketball. Even Dante Exum. Dante Exum was on the verge of, being a part of the league, and all of a sudden he's become a great 3-point shooter all of a sudden. So again, what happened is Luka Doncic happened, and plus the Mavs was hot all night. We couldn't shoot the ball. We couldn't shoot the ball as well. We couldn't get any consistency on the defensive side or the offensive side. So the Mavericks were just hot all night, man. So again, Luka made some tough shots when I thought we did defending him well. But again, if he's that hot, you got to find some way to get the ball up out of his hands. But again, when the ball did come up out of his hands, everybody else was making 3-pointers. So that was just a Dallas Mavericks team that was really hot that night and just made everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to say it. Brad, let me some insight, man. Because I mean, Dylan Brooks went 0 of 7. Jalen Green didn't have a great game. He shot 33%. Kind of cooling down, and we'll talk about that going forward. Kind of cooling down after his phenomenal March Madness kind of run there that he was going on. And then even some of our veterans like Fred VanVleet didn't play too well, and Jock Landale, like you said, was barbecue chicken. He only shot 5 of 12 from the field. So Brad, kind of give me some more insight on this. What should we have done better against Luka other than letting him feast on Jock Landale?
So yeah, I mean, Dante put it on the money, and Luka wasn't missing anything, and that was, in big parts of Ime Udoka's game plan. He wanted to make Luka beat the Houston Rockets, and they were kind of just letting him ISO whoever he wanted to at the top of the key. It looked like, and as we saw, he got whatever he wanted, 47 through 3 quarters, and then towards the end of the game, you see Houston started trapping, and I think they started trapping way too late. Luka Doncic is obviously a special player, and after that first quarter, I forget his exact stat line. I think he had like 22, 8, and 4.
Yeah, on 5 threes made in the first quarter.
Yeah, and it looks even crazier in person. So, yeah, I would have started trapping right there. I would have changed the game plan up. I see this man is on fire. But
second quarter, that's what we should have started doing, was the trapping, getting the ball in his hands. And, Dante Exum shot 100% from the field. He went 13 and 32. But, I mean, Kyrie, he even had a quiet 24, 24 and 7 assists, in a game where, again, Luka just completely dominated. But to me, on top of it being some of it, coaching and just in general players' fault, I also want to attribute it to this is a team that, whether they are actually going to win a championship or not, but they have championship aspirations versus we're just trying to make the play, And how often do you see a 38-win team as low as we are, right? Not even a 10th seed. I mean, I remember in season past, like way, way, way back, not that I was live back then, but, way back in looking at the standings, 38 wins was your 8th seed, So it's just really, really interesting to see how the Wild Wild West is shaped out. And of course, we, had to face Luka. He was coming in hot and heavy. He wanted some wins. He ended up losing to Golden State, I think the night after, right? And then went off against the Hawks. He's currently my MVP of the league. They can stay in that 6th spot or higher. What is there more to say other than he's the closest thing we've ever seen to James Harden, and James Harden's still playing in the league, Luka's phenomenal. Now, but that's enough Luka glazing. Let's talk about something else real quick. The ball movement on this was pretty interesting from the Mavs. Houston Rockets, lack thereof. We also just couldn't make shots, right? On top of the defense, we just had no offense, right? Dante mentioned that they made 24 threes. We barely made half that. We made 13 and shot 34% from 3. Not a good look, But our free throw rate, we shot 16 to 19. Better, I suppose, than most times, better than our season average, but that's something we need to work on going forward. So, my goodness, Houston, this is a game that we couldn't have dropped, and we did drop. So let's follow that up with the next game. Jump right into that. The Wolves. This was a game where I thought we did really, really well defensively on almost every single player. and that includes Anthony Edwards. We kept him until 13 points going into the second half, or going into the third quarter, and we did everything we could. We ended up losing this game 106-113, unfortunately. This is a turnover heavy game. Jalen Green had 5 turnovers in 38 minutes played. He had a solid 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. He shot 45% from the field. He went 18% from the 3 and didn't get a chance to make a single free throw. However, he went 2 of 12 from the 3, garnering him that 18%. But that also means he went about 8 for 11 from inside the arc. So everything inside the arc, he was almost making. He was making everything. It's just really interesting to see how aggressive he was to barely get any free throws, right? And then Fred VanVleet in this game, he had 5 fouls and played 40.5 minutes, 22 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, and 5 steals. It felt like he was everywhere, but just, not very efficient from 3 yet again. 45% from the field, 31% from 3. Just, unfortunately didn't get a chance to make any free throws. And he only had 1 turnover. So not dishing the rock as much as we were hoping, but go ahead. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Brad, can you break down this game? Talk about that second quarter, because that felt like the momentum shifter right there. We couldn't get any stops. So go ahead and talk about that and how they were able to dice up the Houston Rockets defense.
Yeah, so I'll keep it a stack with you. I've missed 1 game this entire season, and that was the 1 game I've missed this entire season. But I will say I saw the first quarter, and I liked what I saw from men. And then next thing you know, the Wolves went on that 38-2 run in the second. So I'll sit back and listen to y'all's analysis on this one, because I'd like to hear what happened in the second quarter too. So
yeah, all right. All right, then Dante, go ahead. Let me know, man. Let me know.
Yeah.
Well, 38-2 run is absolutely ridiculous, especially from an Ime Udoka team. We supposed to be really a great defensive squad, but 38-2 run, that's just insane. But I want to get this out there. Naz Reid has to be one of the best 6 men in the league. He feasts on the Rockets. Great 3-point shooter. Great inside man. He had 25. He had 25 in the game. Even Anderson hits a big corner 3 when we was trying to come back up in the fourth quarter. But the problem is they shot 90% from the free throw line and shot 53% from the field overall. That's some pretty hot shooting inside the arc pretty much. And they got to the free throw line 22 times and made their free throws. And points off turnovers. When we were turning over the ball, they got 27 points off those turnovers. So we lost the game. We lost the game because of that. And again, Naz Reid is just a really good basketball player, man. He has to be in the running for 6 man of the year. So Dylan Brooks, not a great game for him at all. 1 for 4. Don't like his play lately at all. Happy to get Cam Whitmore back. Jock Landale, sometimes he's starting to turn right back into the Jock Landale that we saw early on during the season. He's starting to turn. What a good way to turn right back into that in a playoff stretch. But other than that, free throw line, points off turnovers, that killed us in this game. That really killed us in this game. And Naz Reid having 25 points in this game really hurt us. And Anderson, that's a big momentum 3 he hit in that corner in the fourth quarter. And also McLaughlin had 11 points in this game. So again, our defense was not really good in the second quarter. And they were more aggressive than we were. They made their free throws, and we had too many. They got too many points off turnovers for us.
Yeah, 27 points off turnovers to our 17, and then even adding with that, we still had a bunch of fast break points. We had 22 fast break points to their 9, but they were so effective in their half court offense that it just didn't matter how we were able to run and gun, and unfortunately, we would have loved to see that. Even our steals are almost there. We had 10 steals to their 12 steals. Unfortunately, we didn't get a single block in this game because we don't have a true rim protector out there, and it's interesting to see, that we had Jock Landale, but he's been really good the last few games. Again, coming back down to earth, and even this 26-point game from Jalen, it just didn't feel like the same 20+ point games we were getting in March, right? The way that it felt was just different. And unfortunately, to go along with that, we ended up having 23 personal fouls that we forced upon the Wolves. They drew 23 personal fouls to our 17, right? So that was a huge part of it too, was just being unable to draw the fouls And then along with that, not converting as well from the free throw line. We went 10 of 14, but you like to see, if you're getting 14 free throws, you should be making them. However, our misses came from, Cam Whitmore's first game back, like you said. And thank goodness Cam's back. He had 14 points this game, and I can't wait to talk about him next game. He was pretty electric against the Warriors. But along with that, Amen Thompson, just a very poor game for Amen Thompson. He only had 9 points, 9 boards, 4 assists. And of course, he is a rookie, so I'm not expecting him to, be our savior every night. He was averaging, 15 and 10 for his starting, he was going off in March. And then it just seems something along the lines of the Ime's level of intensity to defense that's kind of wearing the guys down, right? I mean, even veterans like again, Dylan Brooks, he only played 29 minutes in this game. He went 2 of 6, right? And then the game before that, he went 0 of 7, This is supposed to be our defensive ace, our guy that's going to come in and completely change the game. This is supposed to be like, in a matter of respect to Houston Rockets' great defenders, like our PJ Tucker, right? I need you to hit the corner 3. I need you to get in the post and get the rebounds, right? And then, you occasionally score on the fast break, but I need you to defend. That is what you got paid 20 M's to do. And nobody in the league besides the Mavericks were willing to pay you, and they weren't even paying you $20 million, right? And that's what we expect. Now, again, this is a small sample size of games. He had that stretch, in late January, early February, he started to kind of get into that Fred momentum there from Dylan Brooks momentum when he was playing with the Grizzlies. Kind of that same thing where he thought he was the man, he was the dude. He was doing that back then. He's not doing it as much this time, but he's just not even converting on offense and then contributing almost nothing to the defensive side, But to again, like I'm reiterating this game, this is a team that has championship aspirations, who has improved greatly, not only from last season, but really been cohesive this season. They stuck by their guys, right? They kept Mike Conley, who I thought they were trading in the offseason. Naz Reid, who was the best backup big in the entire league. He's just fantastic. Him and Karl-Anthony Towns are leading the entire league in total threes made. And Naz Reid has 5 less threes made than Karl-Anthony Towns right now. Absolutely incredible to see that, from a player like that. And he's a small ball guy. I mean, I would have loved to have had him in our 2020 championship run in the bubble. That would have been the perfect small ball 5 guy next to Harden and Russ. But, we move on. What I would like to see, though, going forward is the attention to detail. Obviously, we're not going to play these guys again, but going forward is how are we going to be able to stop these kinds of big men? So I just want to pick your brain a little bit, Brad. If you put yourself in the coach's position, right, put your coaching hat on, I'm interested. What is your game plan for the Wolves? Because Gobert can't defend, right? And they put Gobert on Amen Thompson in this game to kind of mitigate the needing to pull Gobert all the way out to the paint, or from the paint to the perimeter. What are you doing differently, maybe? Because I mean, obviously, whatever Ime did just wasn't working. He was just starting to throw stuff at the wall, and I mean, just not enough effort felt like was given on top of the lack of efficiency. So, what are you changing up in this game?
So you're saying offensively, when the Rockets have the rock, you're talking about what would you do differently with
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So when I'm running against the Timberwolves, I mean, it was difficult earlier in the season, of course, when you get the 2 bigs with Cat and Gobert, and Jalen even complained, hey, we don't have enough space. We're not getting downhill. We're not getting down in transition. As you mentioned, they did a good job getting out in transition this game. 22 points. Get out and run. And you have athletic players on the team. You got Cam back, so I'm happy that they're out there running with Amen and everybody like that. But in the half court setting, I've been talking about it a lot with Will on our playback stream. Like I said, I did miss this game, but I'm assuming nothing has changed since.
Yes.
They've been running a lot of screening roles, sometimes switching when they don't need to. Sometimes if you have a mismatch already, you just need to attack. In this game in particular, it's tough. From the minutes I did see, they had Jaden McDaniels guarding Jalen Green. And that's a tough matchup. Ant-Man is, of course, a tough matchup as well. So you got to keep the ball moving, find a mismatch, and attack it right away. But again, getting stagnant at half court is going to be tough against a team like Minnesota, one of the best defensive teams in the NBA, if not the best. They're stacked with defenders.
Yeah, I think they'll have a franchise record in defensive rating in like this era or something like that. It'll be like the holding opponents like to the least amount of points per game since like the 2010 or something like that. It's this crazy defensive stat, and that is another reason why like Gobert is not getting you the Wemby blocks, right? He's not getting you 20 blocks a game. But what he is doing is he's changing the entire offense of the other team just because he's so versatile defensively. I mean, he can come out to the perimeter, and yes, there were plays in the bubble and even in 2021 where, yes, Gobert did get cooked on the perimeter. Sure, absolutely. Name me one center that 7 foot that isn't getting cooked on the perimeter, right? Gobert is able to occasionally defend on the perimeter, and he's able to come out of the paint and still recover in the paint. That's why he's a defensive player of the year kind of candidate, right? He's just phenomenal. He changes everything. And unfortunately, we're a team that really likes to, pound in the paint in the homo. We just got to get in there and get wet, and we're not afraid to, right? But against a guy like Gobert, and on top of, like Naz Reid, right? That kind of double big lineup you got going on. Like you said, Jay McDaniels, who's his own lengthy, phenomenal defender in his own right. It's really hard when you've got that kind of length and width on top of not being able to get the foul calls that you need. Because, there was time and time again. We all saw that float and play. Jalen Green, that float and play he took that contact from Gobert on that layup. There was plenty of times where Jalen or even Fred are going to the hole and they get bumped, hit, smacked, pushed, and no call is given, And obviously the refs aren't, the sole reason for this game, but we could have made it closer, right? We could have had more foul calls, right? We could have done something, but Jalen getting 4 and Fred getting 0, your backcourt combining for 4 free throws made and 4 free throw attempts total is just egregious, and then an entire team going for 14 free throws total. I think those numbers should be pumped up a little bit, especially when the other team is getting 32 free throw attempts. That's quite a disparity there. However, going forward, not always the ref, it's just how we play the game. Sometimes it's just how the ball rolls. But I would like to move on to our next and final game. This was, and you guys can correct me on this, this is kind of our doomsday game, I feel. April 4th, last night, against the Golden State Warriors, there was a lot of talk, Warriors come out to play, and they came out nonetheless, 110, 133 L. It says W, but it was definitely an L against the Golden State Warriors here. Jabari Smith Jr. Was not great on the boards, but he was, pretty solid offensively. He had 24 points, 3 boards, 2 assists in his 32 minutes played. He did shoot 47% from the field and 40% from 3, made all his free throws, which is really nice to see. And then Cam Whitmore, this was his official return game. He played pretty solidly in 23 and a half minutes played. He had 17 points, 4 boards, and a block. And that block it felt massive. The score was not great, but the block felt like amazing to watch. He shot 43% from the field. However, he only went 17% from the 3-point line. Again, probably just getting back into the flow of things. Again, this is the first game he's played. He missed 7 games, I think. And then he shot 80% from the free throw line. But let's go ahead and break this game down. Hopefully, Brad watched this game. This is like the closest game we've had all year to playoff basketball. This 3-game stretch really was playoff basketball for us. And we came up short. So let's break it down, man. Dante, go ahead and start breaking it down. And then after Dante's done, Brad, I want all of your thoughts on this game. From the beginning to the end, man, this is just a tough game. So go ahead, Dante.
It was a ridiculous game that we played last night. It was embarrassing to me last night. Ime Udoka had a right to call the team soft the way we did because we did play soft. Every category, we got whooped in pretty much every category if you look at everything last night. 3-point shooting, 48%, 58% overall. They hot from the field overall. Played not a lick of defense at all. Free throw line, rebounds. We got beat by 14 on the rebounding edge. Too many second chance opportunities, 29 assists, which is they move the ball around well because nobody is just standing around outside. Their play, Golden State, they style of play is like a motion offense. Everybody just keep moving, setting backdoor screens. Everybody setting a screen, and that could be pretty tough for an offense to stop when you're moving around constantly. And Steph Curry, when he doesn't have a game against when he doesn't find a way to scorch us, he does that every time. He does that every time. I still have nightmares about that playoff game when he had no punts at halftime and then come back and get by 30. I still have nightmares and dreams about that game. And he's still doing it to us to this day. Points off turnovers, 27. So, again, they beat us in every statistical category in this game. And it was just an embarrassing game. We were soft on the defensive side of the ball. The lack of aggressiveness. Trace Jackson Davis was 8 for 10 inside the paint, 20 points. Curry and Thompson have 19. That's another guy. Klay Thompson when it's a big game, he always seems to show up and seems to arrive. This man literally got moved to the bench, and it's no complaints, it's no problem. He just finds a way to beat Klay Thompson in every big game. So we just got our ass whooped across the board last night. And again, Golden State really humbled us last night. So again, this is a game. Jabari Smith had an okay game. I'm okay with 24 points, but other than that, man, then Thompson had to go out the game. Of course, he had to go out the game, but other than that, we just got whooped from start to finish. So other than that, we did play soft. I commend him, Udoka, for being honest, but this was not a great game for us. It's more of an embarrassing game again. We just got whooped across the board. We just got outplayed, outcoached across the board.
Yeah, I'll say this about that game. You know, from the very start, you know, what's been happening since Jalen Green had this hot March. Teams are doubling Jalen Green. It's the second he gets the ball. The second they try to run a screen and roll, Jalen's getting trapped. So the rest of the team has to capitalize. I can remember looking early in the game, we were shooting 2 of 11 from 3. Next time I look, we're shooting 5 of 19 from 3. You know, those threes coming from, it looks like Jabari and Jalen. But nobody's hitting shots. Dylan Brooks, as you guys mentioned, he has regressed. He shot 40%, you know, in 2023. Now 2024 is shooting probably sub 32%. Now his percent is down to 35%. You know, his three-point shooting has fallen off a cliff. But, you know, as a whole, if you got a guy like Jalen Green who's getting trapped and you're running a 4-on-3 and you can't capitalize, it's kind of hard to do anything. That's why we have a game like this one where Jalen has 13 points and would have had way more than 7 assists if players were hitting their shots. But, you know, even outside of that, defensively, I mean, you mentioned it, Klay, you can't even give him a lick of space. Even when you didn't give him a lick of space, it was nothing but net.
What was his fade? He did a. When was the last time you seen a Klay Thompson post fade?
I don't know. And last time I seen a Klay Thompson post fade, it's probably 2K. Last time I seen that, but probably 2K. But yeah, you can't do nothing with Klay Thompson when he's shooting like that. And then Steph as well followed up with 29. But even outside of that, like the Rockets were forcing a ton of turnovers. The Warriors were playing sloppy basketball. They were inviting the Houston Rockets back into the basketball game. They had 12 turnovers in the first 2 quarters, but they're shooting like 55, 60% from 3, and the Rockets can't hit a 3 to save their lives. So they weren't able to swing the momentum, and then they fell off a cliff completely. Come 3rd, 4th quarter, that game was over. But you know, as a whole, this is why not so much on this game, but when you have Jalen Green getting trapped every single play, you need another guy who can draw double teams. You know, a guy with number 28. You know, he would be helpful.
Who is that? Who is that?
That guy from Turkey that got a few years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. So wait, I thought we were better without him.
It looks like that's not the case. So that's the one thing to come out of this little streak that I've seen from the Mavs game. That's when Jalen started getting trapped. I mean, it happened way before then. Even way before then. OKC, he was getting trapped. But again, like once you're getting trapped, even more aggressively, other people got to start capitalizing. A guy like Alperen Sengun would obviously help. So excited to see him back next year with this Jalen Green. 2 guys who are drawing, you know, doubles like that. The people around them just don't have to hit their shots, and that's what we didn't see against Golden State. The defense was awful. Yes, they gave up a ton of points, but you got to hit your open threes. But yeah, as you said, season's done after that. 4 games back from the Warriors. They have the tiebreaker, pretty much 5 games back. So they're not catching them, and that's okay. They won. They're going to win 40 games this year. They're playing Utah in Portland. That's going to be 40. And yeah, if you told these guys y'all getting 40 wins opposed to 22 the year before, it's a big W. So yeah, good to see the progression, but still a lot of growth to be had. Like as you mentioned, I'm happy that Udoka called them out. He called them out before against the Lakers, and he was like, "Y'all getting punked, y'all being soft." Yeah, about 5-6 fights since then. So I can only imagine this team will respond in the offseason going into next year.
100%. That's going to be a heavy weight to carry because that's all they're going to be thinking off season is, man, the last like bad thing my coach said about me was on national TV saying that I'm soft.
Yeah. If
that's not going to get you in the gym, man, I don't know what is, man. It's like telling a fat kid to quit eating donuts, you know. I don't know what's going to not get you in the gym after that, you know. And I can hear, I can feel the intensity of how they're going to be in the gym, man. I'm excited to go forward with that. I love how you broke that down absolutely beautifully.
I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it when the coach is being honest and being truthful, because that's something that we didn't have for the last 3 years. That's something we didn't have. So again, you happy that we got a coach that calls the players out on national TV and let them know how we playing, because that's the definition how we played. And then So with Brad Point, I mean, I'm happy about the season either way it goes. I mean, the West is a gauntlet, man. And you have 10 teams. You have 10 teams that have a winning record. And in the playing terms. So I'm excited. I'm excited. We're definitely gonna get 40 wins this year, but we can't be mad. We can't be disappointed because this was probably our expectations. This was our expectations right here when Ime Udoka came in and built this team.
Yeah, I mean, coming in, right, I said firmly, 32, 33 wins. I'd say that's a safe bet. Anything above that is exceeding expectations for me personally, and we can be a 40-win team. And I mean, despite what people want to say, we could still potentially be a 500 team that did make the playoffs, that did make the play-in, which is, I don't know, like, I think the last time that happened was like when Steve Nash and Kobe and all those greats, T-Mac and them, I'm pretty sure that was the last time that a 500 team didn't make the playoffs, which is absolutely incredible, minus the play-in, of course. So we'll see what ends up happening. But hopefully, right, there's going to be some teams that are resting guys that give us a chance. Who knows, though? Obviously there's not anything specific. But as of right now, we are effectively 4 games back, technically 5 games back from the 10th spot. It's looking real tough. There's only 6 games left. We're already at the 76 game mark. Tell me the season hasn't flown by. I mean, it from the beginning with the tournament going on, and then into Christmas basketball to New Year's basketball, and then even the All-Star break. I mean, this is like, I don't know. This is probably one of the fastest seasons it's felt like. It's just been exciting the entire year. Players, I feel like, are consistently playing. There's not as many people sitting out games. But man, going forward with this, I mean, what do we got to do to win? I mean, we got to beat 5 to 6 of these teams here to make sure that we are in the play-in, right? How likely is that happening? We face the Mavs again. We also face the Heat tonight. Not sure who's playing for the Heat, but I'm pretty sure they still got Jimmy Buckets out there. Pretty sure they have Bam, who is plus 1,100 on FanDuel on Defensive Player of the Year. He's absolutely fantastic over there, 6'9" big man that can kind of do it all. And then the Magic, who have consistently been a 4 to 6 seed over in the East, absolutely crazy. They have, I think, 43 wins. They're just one win behind the Knicks right now, which is crazy because Jalen Brunson has been phenomenal for them. And then, like we said, the Jazz, right? I mean, I don't know if Lauri Markkanen is still sitting out, but either way, I mean, as long as he doesn't drop 70 on us, I think we'll be all right. And Portland Trailblazers, we saw last time, this is going to be a reunion between father and son. So I'm not too worried about that game. And then the Clippers, there's no way in hell that James Harden, Kawhi, and Paul George are playing, and maybe not even Russ. There is a chance that we could win 3 of these games here. I think the most probable was probably the Orlando, Utah, and Portland games. But going forward, what are some things we want to see for the rest of the season? Some things for our guys. And then let's talk about how likely it is. And then the answer is pretty obvious, unfortunately. But let's just talk about it. I want to hear the good and the bad about how likely it is to make the play. And so go ahead, Dante, start us off, man, kind of your expectations going forward for the last 6 games here. And then break down, the likelihood of making the play.
Well, I think the bad news is I don't think we're gonna make it. We're gonna have to win out. So that's unlikely. We do. Yeah. Golden State is gonna have to lose out. So that's unlikely. We're very unlikely they won't lose out. So again, Golden State has had pretty much for the last couple of weeks outside of Dallas and the Rockets, those were their hardest 2 teams to play, but they dismantled us. So again, yeah. So they for the last 2 weeks they've been fighting through an easy schedule. Our schedule was getting really tough, but they beat the 2 teams. They beat the 2 toughest teams though. So that's what matters for them. I do want to see this team keep getting better, man. Keep improving, man. And like I say, I just want to see this team just keep getting better and keep improving. I mean, you can only get better from here on out, even though the playoff chances are really slim unless a miracle can happen. At least a miracle can happen. But just keep getting better. Just keep coming out every single game, improving, man. So again, I'm already proud of this team, this progression of this team is, and just go into the next season with some momentum. Just finish off the season strong, go into the next season with some momentum.
I'll say this. Definitely you want to finish off strong, get some momentum. But it looks like Amen Thompson sprained his ankle. I don't know if he'll come back again this year. What's most important to me has always been the young core. So we got Cam back in the fold, Jabari, and obviously Jalen. Jalen's gonna be seeing those heavy traps. Again, playing Miami, a really good defensive team. Dallas, of course, was trapping him heavy. Orlando, who 30-pieced us. Those are games they're gonna be looking at because, as you mentioned, I don't think the Clips are gonna be playing their guys in the last game of the season. So these next four, which they're obviously probably definitely not favored to win. I want to see them come out and shock people. Not the next four, the next three. My apologies. Mm-hmm. Miami, Dallas, and Orlando. So I want to see them go out there and win one of those games. I want to see what Jalen can do. If he's getting heavily trapped again, I got to see guys hit threes. I want to see what Dillon Brooks does to finish the season because he's been pretty bad. The defense has even fallen off. I've been saying on Twitter, run it back, keep the same guys.
Oh, yeah.
If they're going to switch one thing around, I could see I test the market for Dillon Brooks at this point. If he doesn't show me something, people have been talking about Jalen for Macau. No. How about Dillon for Macau?
Yeah, how about Dillon?
Yeah.
So, I want to see what Dillon's doing, man. He's got to improve. He's better than this. And maybe it was the oblique injury, but yeah, he's got to play better. I got to see guys hit threes around Jalen Green. And if not, the Rockets got to address that. First thing Udoka said when he came here was, we're going to fix his spacing. So we got to get some shooters around our guys. Like I mentioned, we got Jalen getting doubled, Şengün when he comes back getting doubled. So got to have knockdown shooters. Starts with Jabari. That's what he was drafted to do. Good job last game. I want him to finish strong this year, shooting from three. But yeah, as you mentioned, play-in is cooked. The Rockets, all they can do is win out and hope the Warriors lose. And I don't think that's going to happen. And that's okay. As you were mentioning earlier, Preston, you don't remember a team missing the playoffs with a winning record. The last time it did happen was that twins. It was a few years back when the Hornets went 43 and 39.
Really? Oh wow, my bad. I forgot about the Hornets. They've been so ass with Kemba Walker.
Fluke here. But I also did find, because I'm looking like, damn, these Rockets are at the time 38 and 35. And they're the 11th seed, so I had to look through every single. I looked through every single standings of each year to see like how often do 11 seeds have a winning record, and that was the first time. So the Rockets have a chance to have the best record of all time for an 11 seed if they win 3 more games.
Hey man, I'll put that on my wall right there, man. If we can hang that banner, I'll be all right.
All time.
Yeah, bro. I mean, at this point, we got to dust off our banners, right? We haven't won one for like 30 years, but as it stands, right, man, I mean, I'm just so proud of this team. What we've done all year, despite, we've had, I think, about 18 to 19 games total throughout the whole year of at least one player being injured, one major player being injured. That includes, Amen Thompson at the beginning of the year, Cam Whitmore, his little stretch, Şengün, right, Tari Eason, who hasn't played a game since January, right? It's tough, and despite all that, we've still almost got 40 wins. So it's just crazy to speculate even where we would be if we had all of our guys, right? I want to say two or three episodes ago on the pod here, we had discussed how we had 14 games of 15 plus or more, being ahead 15 plus or more at the halftime of a game and ended up losing, right? So we've got at least 14 games. If we could have been able to maintain that lead, we're talking about a potential 10 plus game swing here, right? Where we're sitting at almost 44 wins, right? 48 wins here if we were able to keep these swings, right? But again, the team is young, right? These are learning curves. And this team reminds me kind of towards like about the middle season last year of where OKC was, where they were still kind of fighting in the play-in, but they were losing a lot because of their guys being young, Shea taking a huge step and some players not being ready, some players coming into their own. And then this year we're seeing all of the players coming to their own, both Jalen Williams, obviously one of them better than the other, and then the addition of Chet Holmgren, who is Wemby light, and Chet's been phenomenal over there with OKC. And then Shea, who I think personally has taken another step defensively. Now, he's not my MVP. I will never give Shea an MVP. He ain't no MVP. But he is absolutely fantastic in this one, right? He's an elite scorer. He's a fantastic playmaker. And he's got great pieces around him. And he's got something that we don't have. He's got shooters. We need some shooters. During the off season, before the season, and then during free agency, Dante and I talked heavily about trying to get a Gary Trent. Brad, what are your thoughts on Gary Trent Jr. and would you like to see him on the team?
I like Gary Trent Shooter. Knockdown shooter. Again, I've been mentioning the Rockets need a knockdown shooter. Just depends on what they want to give up. I'm looking at the roster next year. You obviously got your starting five. And off the bench, it looks like Amin Thompson, Cam Whitmore, Tari Eason, and Steven Adams. That's 9 right there. So it just depends on where they want to insert an extra guy into that fold. Like I said, maybe they get rid of Dylan. If not, you got that top 10 pick from Brooklyn that you can use to get a shooter potentially. But we'll see. I'm interested to see what they do this offseason. I don't know what they'll do this offseason. It's going to be interesting. But a shooter like Gary Trent would be helpful. It's the reason why I've been advocating for a guy like Reed Shepherd, who shot like 51, 52% from 3 at Kentucky. So anything. I have to look at Gary's his contract. Is he a free agent this year? He is a free agent.
I think he's got 1 more year left on his contract, but he makes I think somewhere between that 12 to 18 range in M's. But yeah, next year is his last year on his contract here. I think it's actually a player option this year, so he could opt out and become a free agent, which is somebody that we potentially could sign or do a sign and trade, say a la Jayshawn Tate, somebody along those lines. I'm not sure if we have Reggie Bullock on a 2-year deal.
1 year deal for Reggie.
Just 1 year this year? Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Because, again, no offense to Reggie Bullock, but he out the door, hopefully. I'm glad that he's been okay over here. He fought through his injury, and then he came in, played okay some games. But, yeah, he was not what I thought we were getting. I didn't watch much Reggie Bullock, but then, of course, I watched some highlights, and I thought, man, we getting a knockdown straight shooter. He can do this. And he's been none of those things, really. So, again, glad that he's been better for us. And then this year, I think we should, or at the end of the year, we should let go of Boban and not re-sign him. Love Boban. Love me some Boban. He's fantastic. Love the guy. Love the big guy. But, it is time to move on from that. We are out of the Smiley era, and we're trying to do something with the team, right? I'm tired of seeing they're not getting after it. I want to see them actually get after it, right? It's time to, grow up a little bit. And March felt like a growing up month, right? I mean, Jalen just going crazy, even Amin Thompson going crazy. And then the couple games we had of Cam Whitmore, he was really nice. And Cam Whitmore from about February until he got injured was just looking really, really nice. I mean, he was the Minuteman for sure, just a lot of things I'm looking forward to. But Brad, what is the thing that you're looking forward to the most? And I'm actually going to start up right after this. I'm going to start getting ready for this tankathon because we got to do a spin today. Maybe, we talking about the Brooklyn Nets pick. And, I'm just feeling good. The Brooklyn Nets are essentially done with their season. They still got Ben Simmons over there. And they think they're going to get 3 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges and an elite player. So hopefully they'll like Dylan Brooks and Jayshawn Tate in 2 seconds instead. But let's tell me some of your end-of-season expectations, kind of like you did, so you're not your end-of-season expectations, your expectations going forward in the offseason.
Yeah, again, I keep the full young core 6. I'm not prematurely trading a single person. So we're starting there. We're keeping those guys. Again, yeah, top 10 pick from Brooklyn. You see where you land. You don't know. The lottery is crazy. They could mess around, have a top 4 pick, around 20% chance that happens right now. So again, a lot can happen just based on what happens with that pick. The Rockets have been in talks to want to make a trade for a better player. Again, I'm not using Jalen for that, but see what you can do with Dylan Brooks. I'm looking at that Brooklyn pick and Dylan Brooks, and I'm seeing what's up. Because I don't really understand where you can plug in a rookie on this team next season, because I'm looking and I have 9 guys right there. It depends if you want to use Steven Adams. And this was mentioned before previously. Jock Landale just played good. That's $8 million. You have Jeff Green. That's $9.6 million on the books. Steven Adams is around $12.5 million. Jayshawn Tate, $7 million. That right there is $35 million plus that you could use to potentially get somebody. And you have the assets, the picks to try and grab someone. So you have a guy like Donovan Mitchell who might not. You know what? And that contradicts me because I don't want to get Donovan Mitchell.
Exactly.
I'm gonna stop there. But again, $35 million to make trades. So I don't know what they're gonna do. But yeah, my expectation is just don't rush the process. Keep the young guys at 6, and please get some damn shooters.
Get us some shooters.
Yeah, I meant Thompson. I don't think that shot's coming anytime soon. That's okay. I like him, man. Şengün, maybe 2-3 years away. You got 2 guys playing 25 plus minutes that's not really shooting. Everyone else got to be knocked now. So Yeah, I need some shooters. But that's my expectation.
I got a question for Mr. Brad. So every since can we please make a reservation for Jayshawn Tate to be gone out of Houston? Because ever since that 3-point that he shot against Brooklyn, which is y'all, I saw y'all reaction and my reaction. I almost fell down on the floor. I fell on the floor when I saw that reaction when he was coming back. Can we? How close is Jayshawn Tate leaving Houston? How close? Can we please let him go?
Yeah, where do we sign? Is there like a petition right here?
I'll say this. I got a chance to meet Jayshawn at the Rockets Gala a few weeks back. Actually, hella cool guy. I really like him. When it comes to the Houston Rockets, I mean, obviously the defense is tremendous with him, but he's not the best fit on a team that really needs shooting. And that's why after the All-Star break, Udoka kind of stopped playing him because he wanted these guys to get upwards of 40 threes a night, and Jayshawn's not the guy to be shooting threes or step back threes. You know, as you mentioned. So
that sidestep three just
yeah. I think Jayshawn could be very valuable to another team, a contender.
Yep. Great.
I mean, the Mavs, they did offer a couple seconds, and we could have taken that. Now maybe in the offseason, Mavs might still be interested, right? I mean, they got Daniel Gafford and some other, they got PJ Washington, who's another shooter. They could use Jayshawn Tate as a pseudo one off the bench. That way, Kyrie can still be off ball, or kind of do his own thing, and he'll have an extra playmaker out there at all times. You're running lineups of two. Obviously, Tate's not an elite playmaker, but I mean, he's still a really good playmaker. Despite his minutes decreasing, he still had a couple games way earlier in the season where I was like, oh shit, I forgot Tate was this good. It's just unfortunate that he's not a fit for us. It really is, because I mean, Silas era Tate was so fun. That 32-point game where he almost had that crazy 5x5 stat line was just absolutely insane. I miss that Tate. But we're in the era of trying to win. We're trying to do things now, and sometimes he's got to let go. It's like a bad ex. Except we like Tate, man. We really like Tate. It's just not the fit for us. Now, depending on the pick, I want you guys both to think about some things. But depending on the pick that we get, I want you to tell me the route that you're going with this pick. All right. So let me share my screen real quick. Here we go. This is the draft. This is what it's looking like right now. Detroit, obviously, with a whopping 13 wins with their boy Smiley over there. Washington with 15 wins. At one point, do not be that team. And then Charlotte with 18 and San Antonio with 18 as well. So let's see where we're at. We come down here at 12th, our own pick, of course. And then Brooklyn's sitting over here at 9th with 30 wins. It looks like they're giving up for the season, hopefully. So lottery gods bless us. Go ahead. They did not bless us. We remain at 9th. So what are your guys' thoughts? What are you doing in this position where we get the 9th pick and you have some movable assets on the table? Like you said, you got Jock, right? You've got Tate, like you said, we've potentially got Brooks. But if a star of 30+ million opens up, right? What's your options and what are you doing with the pick? So start off with Dante, and then we'll go to Brad, and then, of course, I'll end it off.
Like Brad mentioned, Reed Shepherd out of Kentucky. I would love Reed Shepherd, but I'm also keeping an eye on another player that played in the SEC that was really good in the tournament. Tennessee's guard Dalton Connect. I believe he's a shooter, another shooter that can also handle the ball. I will be interested in those two, Reed Shepherd and Dalton Connect, if they're on the board by the time the Rockets pick.
Yeah. Those two guys exactly are much needed shooters. It depends on if they want to actually utilize Steven Adams or Jock next year. If not, of course, some options are Donovan Clingan or Clingan. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but
Donovan Clingan from UConn, right? Yeah.
Very nice big man.
Yeah, I don't know if Houston goes that direction again. They have two bigs on the roster, but yeah. So if you're drafting, I prefer shooting, and if you're not drafting and you're trading, again, got to get some shooting. So see what you can package, and there's a lot of options out there. You can wait till draft day, see who's on the board, or you could just, see what, potential stars are available for trade. But it's just such a question mark in the offseason. Random things happen, random players become available. And I'd expect Houston to probably wait until draft day to make a decision.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart. Either way, we shouldn't blow it up. We should not be rushing. I saw there was an article. I apologies, I forget who it was from, but brother was talking about. I think it was maybe off a podcast talking about that the Rockets want to try to trade one of their young guys to expedite the championship aspirations. And although Udoka, I would say is probably a man who wants to win a championship, I think also understands that the team is not ready to win a chip right now. Again, like we won 38 games, which is absolutely fantastic, but comparative to the rest of the NBA, we only won 38 games, right? I don't want to be stuck in a state of mediocrity like the Kings were for 20 years, or where the Hawks are right now. That's not us. I don't want to be like Chicago Bulls where we've got a DeMar DeRozan who can go off for 40 and a Levine who's really, really good and Alonzo Ball who's fantastic and Vooch who's an all-star and not even be, a 6 seed, right? Or a 7 seed or better. That's not where I want to be. If our guys have a chance to be better, I say we take the chance, ride the progression route. And yes, maybe it takes a couple years. I mean, people forget this isn't Shai's second or third year in the league. He's been in the league for a little bit, and I mean, I've said this before, players like Steve Nash didn't even start to become an all-star till their 6th or 7th season in the league. So sometimes it just takes a minute. And the guard spot's a really hard spot to learn, especially when most guards become combo guards. And Jalen, although has progressed, leaps and bounds this year in defense, right? But also has improved at his bounce passes, being able to, do some skip passes, but just in general, his playmaking has gotten better, and he's understood that he has gravity and to pass out. It's really hard to still become this combo guard, right? The expectations on him is absolutely crazy. Luka's so good at it because he's been playing pro since he was 14, right? And I'm not saying that's like crazy. He's still a once-in-a-lifetime talent, absolutely fantastic, but he's had the chance to grow and do these things where, Jalen, first couple years, it was kind of just play around, do your thing ball with him and his boy KPJ. And then now it's serious. Now Ime wants you to get out there and expect results. So, and we've seen some results. Obviously, the beginning of the season was tough. He had some good stretches. He had some bad stretches. But now we saw some consistency. And even when he's getting doubled and trapped, which Golden State game, I don't think we even mentioned, Jalen played 0 minutes in the fourth quarter, which was astonishing to me. Yes, I understood he had quite a few turnovers. Yes, he didn't shoot too well, but I mean, you're leaving Dylan Brooks out there and Amen Thompson, who, again, non-shooters, guys who were not doing anything. We could have done something. But anyway, my rant is Jalen Green's on his thing, doing his thing, right? And we see Şengün, who I still think is our best player on the team, despite Jalen Green's recent play. Jalen Green's the scorer. Şengün is the hub. I'm okay with that, But there's a room for a lot of growth, right? If we want and expect him to be the point guard of the future, we need to treat him as such. If we expect, Cam Whitmore to be this elite, Paul George, or even people have said a Richard Jefferson type guy who, and that's no disrespect to Jeff. I mean, Jeff had some dunks in his career, man. He was an elite player in his own right at certain aspects. If we expect Cam to evolve into something, then we need to give him the minutes. And I would love to pick up another rookie, but I think if we're picking up another rookie, we're just not going to have enough time to get them into the NBA, right? Unless we're taking off days, but I guess those are like rest days for Fred, maybe because Shepherd is a point guard, isn't he? He's a one.
Combo guard. So
He's
he
combo.
play all.
He's much like Dalton Connect. They both for combo guards. They can pretty much do anything, do everything. Pretty much.
Okay, 1 and 2. Okay, but again, then that takes away minutes from Cam Whitmore and Jalen Green, Fred, and Amen Thompson, and 3 of those players were already trying to work in, and we even played Dylan Brooks occasionally at the 2 as well. So if whether we draft or we want somebody to pick, somebody's getting less minutes, somebody's getting traded, and it's going to be a wild season. And I haven't even said anything about Tari Eason yet, and I just labeled 8 guys that are still young and growing in their own right. And Tari's, I mean, what isn't there to say about Tari? He's been elite at his defense, his rebounding, and he's finishing layups, which is the thing that we all yelled at him about last season, was just make your damn layups. And that's what he's doing this season, he was. And, it's just going to be hard. It's going to be a really tough decision. And I have a feeling that some people are going to be upset. And I'm probably going to be one of them based on their decision at the end of the offseason. But I think with that, let's leave it on a little cliffhanger. I want you guys to tell us below if you think Miami's winning and if you think the Houston Rockets can still make the play. And can we win out in the wild, wild west, man? I wish I had some Wild West music theme right here, but I think that's going to be all today. So go ahead, Brad, start us off, man. Where are you plugged in at? Where can people find you?
Yeah, so Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Brado NBA. That's where you can find all my stuff. A lot more active on Instagram now. If y'all want to watch the games live, we are on Playback. Watch Playback in the Houston Library. I'm with Bias Houston. My co-host Will, Invader Sports, big guy on Twitter as well. And if you're not interested in watching those, we got a podcast too, the Brado and Will Show on YouTube. You can tap in there. We've got player interviews with Jabari Smith Jr., Alperen Şengün, and weekly analysis on the games itself. But that's it for me. I want to thank both of you guys for getting me on the show. Preston reached out a while back to get me on, so I'm happy I finally got on. But yeah, whenever y'all both did a great job. I'm always down to talk with you.
Absolutely, man. Stop being so damn busy. I need you to just forget your engineer job and just run this 24/7.
I'm clocked in right now.
For real. Anyway, Dante, go ahead. Let them know where they can find you, and let's end this thing, baby.
Man, it was an honor to have one of the GOATs on, Brad, man, talking to Brad, man, about all Houston Rockets. And trust me, man, we got something big coming up for this team. I'm gonna say we get a dub tonight. Ime Udoka, when Ime Udoka calls out the team, we seem to respond pretty well. So I'm gonna say we do get a victory tonight, but our playoff hopes, I think we lost them last night pretty much. I think it's a death wish for us. But other than that, I think we finished the season strong. But y'all can find me on X. Y'all can find me on Twitter, X, and on Instagram, Coach Dante31, and on YouTube at Coach Dante.
Absolutely, man. Check both these guys out. Absolutely fantastic at their own right for reporting, and they're in the know, man. I mean, Dante does all Houston sports, and Brad, he's got, as you heard, just a million things he's plugged into. So please go reach out to him, man. He communicates quite often. I mean, he knows, man. I'm in the comments trolling all the time. He usually got something goofy to say to me. So it's great, man. Just go ahead, jump in, and go talk to him. Go talk to our guys. You can follow me at drip2piece_GAWD on X as well as Instagram. And be sure to follow this account. Yeah, the H-Town Rundown on YouTube as well as X and Instagram at the H-Town Rundown. Please, thank you guys for sharing. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Peace, man. Go Houston.